Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for joining. We are in the Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter, 18-day summary study program. We completed chapters 1 and chapter 2. We are in chapter 3. My name is Patita Pavana Balaram Das. I am one of the Bhakti Riksha team member. So, is there anyone joining new today? First class? Okay. So, we'll then get started. I'll share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so we are in the Gita Gyan program. Gyan means knowledge. We are going to discuss about the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And as mentioned before we start any discussions about spiritual topics, we say a few prayers to invoke the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the Acharyas in the disciplic succession. So please say after me, Om Agnana
Om Agnana
Timirandasya
Timirandasya
Jnananjana
Jnananjana
Shalakaya
Shalakaya
Chakshur
Chakshur
Unmilitam
Unmilitam
Yena
Ena
Tasmai Sri
Tasmai
Gurave Namaha
Gurave Namaha
Nama Om
Nama Om
Vishnu Padaya
Vishnupadaya
Krishna Presthaya
Krishna Prasthaya
Bhutale
Bhutale
Srimate
Srimate
Bhakti Vedanta
Bhaktivedanta
Swamin Iti Namine
Swami Namine
Namaste
Namaste
Saraswate Deve
Saraswate Devi
Gauravani Pracharine
Gauravani Pracharine
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Paschatya Deshatarine
Bhaskarya Desasarine
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadara
Sri Advaita Gadadara
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare
Two
Hare
more times together. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama Hare
Rama
Rama Rama
Rama Hare
Rama Hare
Hare.
Hare
So we are dedicating this program to His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in short called ISKCON, and he is the author of Bhagavad Gita as it is book. And we are inspired to do this program by the mercy and blessings of His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Guru Jayapatak Swami. He is the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We are reading about the glories of Bhagavad Gita from the Gita Mahatmya written by Shankaracharya. So we'll read one more today. Anyone wants to read verse and translation?
Marline Moka one day cleans himself by taking a bath in the water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges, water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished.
Jai, thank you. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamrita snanam samsara mala nashanam. Means we take bath every day in water. And why we do that? To purify ourselves. And if we take bath even once in the sacred Ganges of Bhagavad Gita, it is like reading Bhagavad Gita is equal to taking bath in the Ganges, and all the sins since some nothing but the dirt of the material life is altogether removed. Okay? That's why we are doing this, and we are doing this in the month of Kartik. The benefit is multiplied 1,000 times. We'll do a quick recap of chapter 2. But before chapter 2, let's also do a pop quiz on chapter 1. What are the 5 topics discussed in Bhagavad Gita? Anyone wants to answer?
Compassion,
No, those are the reasons that Arjuna gives for not fighting. I'm asking about what topics are described or dealt with in Bhagavad Gita.
Is it
5
Jiva,
topics.
Jiva or Atma?
Yes,
And then Jiva and Prakriti.
yes,
Third one is Karma.
yeah,
Then Kala and Ishvara.
very nice. 3 times Hari Bol to Shilpa. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. If we want to appreciate someone, we'll say Hari Bol. Okay, so very nice. So now in chapter 1, Arjuna gives various reasons for not fighting, and then he throws his Gandiva bow and says, Krishna, I don't want to fight. In chapter 2, what does he do? Chapter 2 is called the Gita, contents of the Gita summarized. First he does is he surrenders to Krishna. And then the next one is Krishna gives the Sankhya or the Gnana about our real identity. And then he also tells about what is Dharma, what is Karma. And finally he says, Arjuna, use your intelligence and become a Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means a self-realized person. So what did Arjuna do? He said Arjuna accepts Krishna as his spiritual master and he fully surrenders onto him and he seeks his instructions. So one of the main reasons that Arjuna was seeking help from Krishna is indecision. And we also face indecision in our life. And when we do, what we should do, we should approach a real well-wisher and who knows our nature. A real well-wisher is always be giving us suggestions, advice, recommendations that will be beneficial to us. Approach them in a humble state of mind in all seriousness, not whimsically. We don't go there just to get their instructions and not follow them. We have to follow, we have to commit ourselves to follow those instructions. And and then Krishna begins to address Arjuna's concerns. What does he first do? When Arjuna says compassion, that he's going to kill his relatives and family members, Krishna says, don't worry about the death of the kinsman because he explains about the concept of soul. He differentiates that there is a difference between the soul and the body. Even though the body dies, it is the soul that never dies. It has been there ever existence, eternal. And that's why he summarizes, he says that do your duty and don't lament for the body. Because we are not the body, but the soul that resides within the body. And we all get pains and pleasures within in our life. That is because we have a body. And the body has senses. Through the senses, we are perceiving those pains and pleasures. But the soul is unborn, indestructible. It doesn't have really any pains or pleasures. It never dies. And once the body dies, the soul goes to another body. Therefore, we should not lament for the body and we must perform our duty. Then Arjuna asks Krishna, like, what is the symptoms of a self-realized person? Who is the person who is self-realized, Sthita Prajna? A person who is self-realized has these 5 characteristics. He is self-satisfied. He doesn't hanker for the things that is around him. I don't want a Tesla car. He doesn't hanker for a Tesla car. He doesn't hanker for a big house. He doesn't hanker for promotion. Whatever he gets in his life, he is satisfied. And whether he gets something or he doesn't get something or he loses something, he's always equipoised, balanced. And he doesn't get anger and he doesn't have hurtful thoughts. He doesn't want to hurt anyone and he is aloof from all the material commotion. Means there is so much drama going on around us. He is free from that. He doesn't add more stuff to the drama. And finally, the biggest thing is this material world is always trying to pull our senses in different directions. Whether we see a nice scene, like thing we want, our voice wants to see that only. Whether we want to come across a nice smell, we want to go and taste it. So many times it gets pulled. But a self-realized person will always be able to control the senses. And how is the controlling the senses possible? By using intelligence. If we use intelligence, we know what is right, what is wrong, then we'll be able to control the senses. If we know that there is a bad thing going on, and with intelligence, we can avoid that, even though it is, if our senses are being pulling us in the direction. And what the analogy that was given is, as a strong wind sweeps away a boat in water, even one roaming sense on which the mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. So we might be studying very hard for an exam. One uh, and somebody is playing TV on the side, and one thought like goes, we see that, and there is a nice scene, and our books are there, and we go and watch the TV. And if our siblings are playing games, especially for the kids, we keep our homework aside, go and play with them. So that's why we have to be using intelligence. What is intelligence? It says that no, TV you can watch later. Right now, if I don't do this homework, I will not get grades. So I have to do this homework. Similarly, if we know that there is a project deadline that is coming up, and we don't plan for those stuff, or we always focus, or even like when we are writing exams, we don't waste our time on browsing and all. We study and then write the exam. So that intelligence will tell us what is the thing we need to focus on. So therefore, he says, Krishna says, "O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from these objects is certainly of steady intelligence." So a sthita prajna is someone. See, if a boat is not tied to, anchored, it's not tied to a dock, a wind can take the boat away into the sea. But if it is tied, if we're using our intelligence, if we tie our senses, then the boat will always be there. Means our body will not go haywire. Any questions before we go to chapter 3? So chapter 3, Krishna goes further into karma yoga.
Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
okay, that summary slide, if you don't mind, can you go back? Like summary of the second chapter.
Yes.
Okay, actually, the summary, um, yeah, so this 54 to 72, actually in second chapter, in the 39th verse, actually, Krishna clearly makes it very clear that he is actually taught so far in Sankhya, and now he's going to talk about yoga. Esha tebi hita Sankhye. Thus far, I have told you about Sankhya. Buddhir yogo tvimam shrunu. So, about the wisdom, the buddhi yoga, through yoga, you listen to me. So, buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So, the second chapter is about Sankhya and also yoga. So, but here that thing has not been mentioned. So, I'm a little bit perplexed.
Yeah, so dharma karma is the main topic, but then yoga is included in that, because the buddhi is nothing but Krishna consciousness. Buddhi yoga, when I say buddhi, I did not mention buddhi yoga, but essentially when we say yoga, it is a union. The meaning of yoga is a connection. And when we say buddhi yoga, it is, and then when we say a summary, we can't fit only all the topics, right? So yeah, yoga was also described in chapter 2.
Thank you. Dhanyasmi Prabhu.
Yeah, and then we'll discuss more about yoga in chapter 3, because that also is relevant in all the yoga is mentioned in all the remaining chapters also.
Prabhuji, if I can ask one question.
Yes, go ahead.
So the properties of Sthita Prajna, right? The behaviors, right? If you can go to that slide. So while explaining, you did say that he doesn't add anything, right? More drama to do stuff, right? And a lot. And from what my understanding is, I want a clarification, right? When you try to be a Sthita Prajna, right? So all these qualities is good, but how do you still do your karma and dharma and still be a Sthita Prajna? Because
Yes.
inaction should not be a substitute for being a Sthita Prajna, right?
Yep. Can I call you Arjuna instead of Murali? Because Arjuna asked that question actually in chapter 3, and that is the topic for today.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. That's a wonderful segue actually. So chapter 3 starts with Arjuna Vacha. Anyone wants to read the verse?
Jayasi Ramanasti Mata.
Okay, we'll read the verse and then you can read the translation. Arjuna Vacha
Nyasi
Arjuna Uvacha
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste
Jayasi Chit Karmanaste
Mata Buddhir Janardana
Mata Buddhir Janardana
Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam
Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam
Niyojayasi Keshava.
Niyojayasi Kesava.
Anyone can read the translation.
Arjuna said, "O Janardana, O Kesava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work."
Yeah, so there is already a war going on, and at the end of chapter 2, Krishna says, Arjuna, now get up and fight. So now Arjuna is saying, on one hand, you're saying, use my intelligence, which is Buddhi Yoga. And on the other hand, you again said, get up and fight. So Arjuna is not able to reconcile both. Yeah, and Vyamishreneva Vakyena
Vyamashivana Vakena
Buddhim Mohaya Shiva Me
Buddhim Mohaya Siva Me
Tadekam Vada Nishchitya
Tadekam Vada Nishchitya
Yena Shreyoham Apnuyam.
Yena Shreyoham Apnuyam.
Yeah, translation. Go ahead.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
So he's saying, Krishna, you are giving equivocal instructions, which seems to be opposite, right? One conflicting or contradicting. One is use your intelligence. If somebody uses intelligence, what they will say, fighting is not good. And on the other hand, he's saying, get up and fight. So that's why he's saying, on one hand, there is a drama going on. And he's saying, use your intelligence, which is become a sthita prajna who doesn't add more commotion to that whole thing going on. And again, Krishna is telling, get up and fight. So that's the confusion Arjuna is asking. So Arjuna's confusion is, he thought that using intelligence means retirement from active life or practicing penance and austerity in a secluded place. So when Krishna asked him to get up and fight, he got confused. And similarly, and some acharyas, they say that Arjuna is still reluctant to fight, even though Krishna asked him to get up and fight. And that is how our mind is also. Even though somebody tells them, do this, this is the right thing to do, our mind will find excuses to not do those things. And also, Arjuna is skillfully avoiding fighting even because he's not fully convinced that he has to get up and fight. But what we know is Arjuna is a sincere student. Karpanya dosha upahata swabha means he was overcome by misery and Sishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. He accepted Krishna as his spiritual master, even though Krishna and Arjuna are of the same age. But once we accept someone as our mentor, spiritual master, then we place the matter before them and question them and ask them to give us the best course of action. Same thing when we might discuss about the well-wisher concept. What does Krishna say? This is what it will answer Arjun Prabhu, your sorry.
Murli Krishna.
Murli
My
Krishna.
name is Murli Krishna.
Yes, yeah. Na karmanam anaramban
Na karma anaramba
naishkarmyam purushosnute
Naiskarmyam Purushosnute
nacha sanadeva
Nacha Sanyasanad Eva
siddhim samadhigacchati.
Siddhim Samadhigacchati.
Can someone read the translation?
Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can can one attain perfection?
Jai, thank you. Niyatam kuru karmatvam
Niyatam kuru karmatvam
karma jyayo hya akarmanaha
Karmajayoha akarmanaha
sharira yatrapi chate
Sharira yatra pichayate
na prasidyet akarmanaha.
Na prasiddhed akarmanaha.
Yeah, you can read.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So, yeah, by abstaining from work, we people think that we might not get karma, but Krishna is saying, no, you have to work the fact that you are in this world. If you abstain from work, you will still get karma. So, no work doesn't mean no karma. No work also brings karma. And similarly, if you renounce all the work that you have, that doesn't give you perfection also. So this is what Krishna is saying. People will have so much confusion. Oh, if I'm working, I will get karma. So then I will not work. No, even if you not work, you will get karma also. And similarly, if we renounce everything, we'll become perfect automatically. No, renunciation means artificially renounce everything and going doesn't also bring perfection to us. So does that answer your question, Prabhu? Where Murali Krishna Prabhu, that yeah, Krishna is saying that you have to get up and fight, and we'll see why that instruction will not bring karma to Arjuna, because it will come in the future stage. But essentially, what he's saying is, yes, in order to become Sthita Prajna, you have to use your intelligence. The intelligence is, I will reveal now itself, it is to follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord. If we follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord, then even though we are working, there will not be any karma.
Okay, that is clear, Prabhuji. But when you say we no work means no karma, right?
No work not equal to no karma.
Okay.
No, actually, Prabhu, Prabhu, in the second chapter, I mean, you are taking knowledge, I'm sorry, Buddhi Yoga, it's like you're taking I mean, you said intellect, using the intellect, right? It is actually in the second chapter, but Krishna actually gave a lot of knowledge to him, like, for example, about the spirit soul or Atma, that
It is
it
Sankhya.
can never be touched, it nothing can wet it, no one can like cut it, and it cannot be touched by wind, and all the so much of knowledge. So having got the knowledge, now the confusion is, now I got the knowledge. Now why should I fight? Like that's why there is a difference between, like, once I've got the knowledge, why should I work? That is the confusion between knowledge and between work, because knowledge and work are totally, like, they are like are opposed to each other. Work, there is a sense of like doing. In knowledge there is no doing, it's just knowing.
Yeah, so essentially that is what in chapter 4. So I think you might have read Bhagavad Gita, so you are able to bring the future topics here. Where intelligence and knowledge are the same. How can we become intelligent if we have knowledge? So if, let's say, you are a mechanical engineer, how can you become good in the mechanical engineer? We need knowledge. So essentially, the knowledge is there. Using the knowledge, the intelligence will increase, and that's what chapter 2 is, the summary of all the topics of Bhagavad Gita. So when we refer to intelligence, we are also referring to knowledge, which is as a synonym. So yes, Arjuna got the knowledge about the spirit soul, and then Krishna is saying, use your intelligence, Buddhi Yoga, to get up and fight. So essentially, that's what Arjuna is saying. Now, using the knowledge or the intelligence, you are telling me to fight, which is equivocal. Once I have the knowledge, then, or the intelligence, on one hand, you are saying engage me in this ghastly warfare, which with the knowledge I can go and renounce everything and go and meditate in the forest, right? But that is not what you are saying. Again, you are saying get up and fight. So these two appear to be contradictory to Arjuna, and that's why he is asking Krishna again the question. And in chapter 4, we will see that how intelligence can increase by using knowledge, that Krishna will tell.
Actually, Prabhu, in the third chapter itself, there is a slight change in the tone. Actually, I can give you the specific. I mean, the question is like when you have knowledge, everything. Why should you kind of basically? Why should you actually do karma? Why should you actually? So there is in chapter 3 itself. Um, uh, Actually, one second, I'll tell you. Just give few seconds.
Yeah, so maybe these questions, in the interest of time, we can ask at the end and we can discuss those. Let the flow continue, and then if you have any questions, write them down and we can discuss at the end.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions related to this slide?
I just want to clarify something real quick. Is this course intended as a beginner level course? Because I see there are people who are, very almost expert level knowledge in Gita, whereas there are some others like me
Yeah, so that's why
who
I'm
don't
saying like,
have any knowledge.
yeah, exactly. So Prabhu, I request that we discuss a little bit more deeper topics towards the end, and if anyone can drop off, they can drop off at the time and we can discuss that.
I think that would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So going to the next slide. So now let me ask a question. Krishna is saying that everyone must work, but then we know if we work, we get reactions. So what is there a work that will not bring us any karma?
The devotional work,
What is the name of that work?
like
It's called
serving.
yagna.
Oh.
So Krishna introduces the concept of yagna in chapter 3, and it starts with verse 3.9. Yagna arthat karmano anyatra
कर्मणो अन्यत्र
lokoyam karma bandhanaha
लोको
ಲೋಕೋಯಂ ಕರ್ಮ ಬಂಧನದ
tadartham karma kaunteya
तद
ತದರ್ಥಂ ಕರ್ಮ ಕೌಂತೆಯ
mukta sanga samachara.
मुक्त
ಮುಕ್ತ ಸಂಗ ಸಮಾಚಾರ.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
So see, Bhagavad Gita is giving the answers to every question that we get, right? First and foremost, Arjuna is confused about his duty, whether he should fight or not fight. Then Krishna is telling, and he also gave some reasons why he doesn't want to fight. So Krishna gave the Sankhya knowledge that you are not the body, don't worry about you killing someone, do your duty and fight. Now Arjuna is again confused. On one hand, I have this knowledge and using intelligence, you're saying use my intelligence, and but on the other hand, you are also telling me to fight. So same thing. In our life, we get the question: should I do my duty, karma, or should I just engage in Vedic reading scriptures and increase my knowledge, or renounce everything, go for meditation and all? So all those questions, Krishna is saying that there is not even any person in this world who can stay without doing any work. Everyone has to work, and then the question will arise: is okay, if you are saying me to work, don't I get the reactions from the work? Then Krishna is saying is there is this yagna, means if you work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, then you will not get any bondage. So essentially, what Krishna is saying is, if you work for your own sense gratification, then yes, that work will lead to bondage. But if you work for the satisfaction of Vishnu, then you will not get karma back. Okay? And why we have to work for Vishnu? Well, let's read that why. Annad bhavanti bhutani
Bhavanti Bhutani
Parjanyadanna Sambhavaha.
Parjanyat Anna Sambhava
Yagnat Bhavati Parjanyo.
Yagnat Bhavati Parjanto
Yagna Karma Samudbhavaha.
Yajna
Karma
Karma Samudbhava.
Samudbhava.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yagna, and yagna is born of prescribed duties.
Yeah. So in this world, is there anything that we created?
No.
Yeah, no. But if somebody doesn't know about the Supreme Lord concept, they will say, yeah, I created a nice Lego. I used the Lego things and created a nice car or a robo or something. Or someone says, built a nice house. But where did the raw material come from? It's all taken from whatever that was already there. We actually did not create anything that belongs to this material. We are only taking the items and using it for a different format. So everything is coming from the Supreme Lord. And if let's say you are walking in a park and on a bench you see a phone, somebody forgot it there or somebody left it there. Do you take it and because nobody is claiming it, you take it and go home? Is it okay? Or is it still come under stealing? It still comes under stealing because the main thing is it doesn't belong to you. That's the simple concept. And similarly, if we are taking whatever is in the material world and claiming this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, and using for our own gratification, then it comes under stealing. The Upanishads, Isha Upanishad says that if we don't even have some gratitude towards the Supreme Lord for using all the things that were given to us, then we are nothing but stealing. Similarly, by performing yajna, we are not doing something out of the ordinary. We are just saying thanks to the Supreme Lord. We are trying to look at the Supreme Lord in everything that we do. We get grains from the Supreme Lord, from the rains, and the rains are coming from yajna. It is Vishnu. And because all the demigods, like the devatas who are responsible for the proper functioning of this nature, are working under the guidance of Vishnu. So that's why yajna is other name for Vishnu. When we say yajna, it has two meanings. One is sacrifice and Vishnu himself. So that's why we have to be grateful, and then we have to perform the yajna as a matter of duty, because it doesn't belong to us. And if we don't do the duty, then the side effect is we get the karma back. And in yajna is not so difficult. We will see in the later slides. All we have to do is, just when we are eating some food, we say thank you Krishna or thank you Vishnu, whoever you call, for giving me this nice food. If you get a promotion in work, just say thanks the Supreme Lord, I was trying and you got this. And if your kids get good marks, then say thanks Krishna for giving me smart kids, like that. Always, whatever is happening, we just say thanks to the Supreme Lord. That attitude of gratitude will bring us closer and closer to the Supreme Lord. And we have seen that why we have to do, and that is the prescribed duty, that we have to be always grateful, and we have to do our duty no matter what the circumstances and our difficulties that come. And that's why Krishna takes different avatars to set as an example. One of the greatest example is Lord Rama. He came as a human being, and in other avatars he used his supernatural powers to subdue the enemies. But in case of Ramayana, in case of Lord Rama, he came as a normal human being, and he showed us, he led the path for every human being on how to lead a human form of life by following the duties that is prescribed for him. Yad yad acharati shreshtas
Yajna Vistas
tad tad evataro janaha
Tata Ivataro Jana
sayat pramanam kurute
Sayat Pranamam Kurve
lokastad anuvartate.
Lokas Anuvartate.
So Krishna is saying that the people who are learned should lead by example. Someone can read the translation.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he set by exemplary acts, the world pursues.
Yeah, so everyone should be doing exemplary acts, because if somebody is a learned person, people automatically follow. They follow the leaders, right? So basically, if they do the right things, all the common men who follow them also do the right things. So if somebody is learned about Bhagavad Gita and they apply those principles of Bhagavad Gita in their life, all their followers will also do. And even in a family, if the parents learn Bhagavad Gita nicely and follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita as it is, then the kids get inspired and they also follow the parents. And then Krishna introduces the concept of yoga ladder in here. Just he gives a glimpse of the different yoga processes that are there. And without knowing this in detail, there will be a lot of confusion in the current society, because people will be doing one work and they will think that they are doing karma yoga. And people will be doing another work and they're doing jnana yoga. But what Krishna clearly says is this. In chapter 30, he says that, therefore, Arjuna, surrender all your works to me, which is yajna, right? He's saying all Krishna, Vishnu, there is no difference. He's saying, surrender all your work to me, and in full knowledge of me, without desiring for any profit, and with no claims of proprietorship, free from lethargy, fight. Again, he's saying fight only, but he's saying that now surrender that work to me and do it as a yajna. Do in full knowledge of me that I am the Supreme Lord and if I am the responsible for giving you everything. Don't desire for any profit, because it is ultimately you are doing for my satisfaction. If you are doing for your own sense gratification, then you desire for profit. Similarly, no claim for proprietorship. You do it in the mood that nothing belongs to you. You are not the proprietor. And then finally, free from lethargy. Don't get complacent. Means do it. Understand that there is a duty that you have to do, and that is a lot of things are at stake. So and then that's why you get up and fight. And if he does follow all these things and he fights, then Arjuna will not get any karma even for killing his enemies. We are not Kshatriyas, but even in our day-to-day life, if we follow the Supreme Lord's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, and even if we have to say harsh things to our team members, if we do it under the mood that Krishna, why did you put me in this situation? But as per my duty, I have to correct these people. You will not get any bad reactions. So right now, the yoga ladder stands as, if each of these things are there, if none of them are followed, then we are in the animalistic life, which is there is no there is reluctance for following the Vedic instructions. There is no disregard. There is disregard for them. And the only purpose in life is sense gratification, eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. If somebody is operating in this mode, they are in the animalistic platform. They can go one level up by by performing the Vedic rituals. So we go to the temple, we offer the things to, we do some pujas, we do some rituals. Why we are doing it? To still get the sense gratification only, which is, oh God, if you give me promotion, I am going to break 100 coconuts. If you are, if I'm able to build a nice house, I will come to this place. Like those things. So those conditions, like transactional kind of things, will not come under karma yoga. It comes under karma kanda. Or if the other thing is gnana kanda, which is, oh Lord, I want to understand everything about this material world. I'm going to read Vedic literature, scriptures. I'm going to become a nice pandit where I can earn money. Then that's all called kanda, means activity that doesn't come under yoga. The moment we bring in the so when we connect it to the Supreme Lord, then the word yoga gets added. But in here, it is a little bit, so this is a little bit advanced topic, but I will just just touch it and then leave it. So the next level of that is, if we want to make our work yoga, we have to not have so we should not be worried about success and failure. We should do it as a duty. If we are doing it as a duty, then it comes under Sakama Karma Yoga or Sakama Gnana Yoga. Finally, the level which is recommended is, we should work without any desires also. We have to work as for the satisfaction of Vishnu only. So you see some people who appear to be uh, uh, very much learned, but they still have that subtle thing where I want to be considered a great person. And even if they do something and they don't get success, they are not bogged down. They still continue. But that still is the second level only. The first level is they don't do for their own name, fame, anything. They do only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Okay. So in this, yeah. So now what we understand, Krishna is saying Arjuna to fight, and if we do it for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, then there is no karma associated. That process is called yajna. And what is the yajna we all can perform? So let's say we have a ailment. We go to the doctor. The doctor prescribes some medicine. If we take the medicine as per the prescription, then our ailment will be gone. But if we go use it we get our own medicine based on the prescription given to some other person, thinking that our problem is also the same. And if we use the medicine, will our ailment go?
No.
No.
No. And if we take the medicine for headache, will our knee pain go? No, right? So same thing. We have different yugas. Krita Yuga is also called Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. For each of the yugas, there is one method that is prescribed for attaining liberation. For the Satya Yuga, it is after leaving your family for like 50 years or so many years, you leave everything, go to forest and meditate on the Supreme Lord. By that meditation, you will be able to get in liberation. And in the Treta Yuga, the recommended practice is perform yajna, like the actual fire sacrifices. So if you see how Lord Rama was born, Dashrath does the fire sacrifice, and from there, the Supreme Lord appears and gives him a nice, it's called payasam, it is called sweet rice, and he shares it with among his wives and gets. So basically, at the time, people are performing fire sacrifices. By doing this process, you don't have to leave the forest, leave your family and forest. You will get liberation by performing this. Janaka is a great example from Treta Yuga. He had all daughters and he did not leave anything his family. He ruled his kingdom and he was performing yagnas, and at the end, he attained liberation. And in the Dwapara Yuga, it is temple worship. So we have to go to temple and do archana and offer the deities. Then we'll get the benefit of, and if we do the duties, we get liberation. Means the what we have to understand is the ability of the man is also decreasing. When I say man, human being is decreasing yuga after yuga. Means in Treta Yuga, people will not be able to sit and meditate for that much lifetimes where they can get liberation. Similarly, when it comes to Dwapar Yuga, they will not be able to do the yagnas as perfectly as the people did in the Treta Yuga. So the simple recommended worship is doing the deity worship. But in the Kali Yuga, we don't have time. We don't have the ability to also follow the Vedic injunctions as is. You have to be very austere to do this deity worship. But then, is there no hope for people in Kali Yuga to get liberation? Yeah, I see hand raised. Prabhu, if I can finish this slide and if I can answer, is that okay? From Baji Babu, the hand was raised. Okay. So it's gradually decreasing. So now in Kali Yuga, we cannot sit in meditation. We cannot perform these yagnas. The meditation, if you see, take Valmiki, right? Valmiki was a hunter, not hunter. He is a daku, means like he used to stop people and rob people on the way. And he is so sinful. But he was able to attain perfection by sitting in meditation. What he got his spiritual master as Narada, and he was able to write Ramayana after attaining perfection. But do we know how many years that Valmiki did the meditation? He did it for 60,000 years. Because in the time of Satya Yuga, first Yuga, which is also called Krita Yuga here, people lived for 1 lakh years, 100,000 years. So out of that, Valmiki, it used to take minimum 10,000 years for someone to attain perfection. And Valmiki meditated for 60,000 years, so he was able to get the ability to write great transcendental literature called Ramayana. In Treta Yuga, they do sacrifices. When we do fire sacrifices now, we take a matchbox and lit the fire. But the actual process recommended in Vedas is the fire should not be lit by matchboxes. The Brahmanas, learned Brahmanas, they will utter a mantra and the fire automatically comes. That is the way of igniting a sacrifice. So the sacrifice we are doing in Kali Yuga is also not the actual recommended process. There is so many compromises. Similarly, the deity worship here, you have to take bath 3 times a day and you have to do Gayatri. So many things need to be done to do the deity worship. And maybe since Dwapara Yuga is a little bit closer to Kali Yuga, some people are still able to do this very nicely. But essentially in Kali Yuga, we are so much, we don't have the ability to focus our mind on one thing so nicely. We don't know we can't even utter the mantras properly. We can't even be so austere. So is God so unkind that he put us in this Kali Yuga? No. It is mentioned that Kali Yuga has so many flaws, but the biggest advantage of being born in Kali Yuga is Lord being so merciful has made the process of liberation so easy. At the same time, it is so difficult because we are blind towards it. Something, if it is so easy to catch, we we tend to oversee it. So it is mentioned that in the Kali Yuga, the easiest process to get liberation is Sankirtana Yagna, means people all coming together and singing the names of the Supreme Lord. It can be Vishnu Sahasranama, it can be Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It can be names of Lord Rama. It says Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Namavarana. It means if you utter the word Rama once, you get the same benefit of uttering the Vishnu Sahasranama. Similarly, in the scriptures, it is mentioned that if you utter the word Krishna, you get the benefit of uttering the words Rama 3 times. So in this Kali Yuga, all we have to do is just utter the holy names of the Lord, and we don't have to leave the family. We don't have to do yagnas. We don't have to do deity worship. If we whatever time we get, if we chant, we get the liberation, and that is mentioned here in Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll discuss this and take some questions. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam
Krishnavarnam
Krishnavarnam Trisha Krishnam
Sangopagastra Parshadam
Sangopagastra Parshadam
Yagnai Sankirtanai Prayair
Yajnai
Yagnai
Sankirtana
Sankirtana
Prayai
Praye
Yajantihi Sumedasaha.
Yajantihi
Yajantihi
Sumedashaha.
Sumedashaha.
Can someone read the translation?
In the age of Kali. Go ahead, Mother.
In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So what we understand is this Sankirtan movement was inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is avatar of Krishna himself, and he came in this Kali Yuga, and he spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra throughout the whole world. And we, from the prophecy, we know that in the next 10,000 years, there is a golden period where everybody in this world, whoever takes to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which will be heard every town and village, they will be able to get out of the cycle of birth and death very easily. Okay. Any questions? In the previous slide, someone raised a hand. Do you have any questions? Baji Babu or some, like you had a question. Okay. So what happens essentially is, even though we might be in the Kali Yuga where there is so much miseries that are all coming, if we take the shelter of the holy name, it will protect us from all those miseries. There is a story actually where one old man was walking, and he goes past the Kali personification. When Kali sees him, he wants to play a trick on him. He tries to do so many things, but the old man is not bothered. Nothing is able to happen. And then when Kali goes and tries to attack him, he gets repelled. He could not even touch him. Then he was shocked. Then what we understand is that the old man is chanting the holy names of the Lord. It doesn't tell which holy name, but holy name of the Lord, which means here in this age we can do Hare Krishna, we can do Lord Rama, Lord Narasimha, any names. If you take the shelter of the holy name, Kali cannot touch us. Okay? And that's why we recommend that each of you can get a japa bead and then start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and we will quickly see that the effects of Kali will not be acting on us so easily. Any questions and answers? Any questions?
Yes, Prabhu. Just to like in that same in Bhagavatam also about the Kirtana you were talking about. One more famous sloka is there. Kaler doshe nidhe rajan nasti
Yeah.
eko mahan gunaha Kirtana deva Krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. By the
Yes.
Kirtana only in the age of Kali one can attain moksha or liberation.
Yes, very nice. And there is one more verse in Krita Yuga, like the what I showed here was based on a verse that in Krita Yuga it is meditation, in the Treta Yuga it is yajna. So yeah, Bhagavatam is filled with this kind of verses that give us motivation. So three times Hari Bol to Naveen Prabhu for bringing a very nice verse from Bhagavatam. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol, Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari Bol.
Actually, one more thing, Prabhu. Earlier, one question was asked, like, once we have gained knowledge, how can we like do our karma without gaining, or I think before someone asked, without getting any. I mean, you already answered that in terms of yagna. But in terms of like the first question where Arjuna was confused, like having gained knowledge, why should he act? So actually, in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, "Yastvatma ratireva syad atmatruptascha manavaha atmanyeva hi santushta tasya karyam na vidyate." So the last part actually, atmanyeva cha santushta, one who is satisfied in his own in the atma, tasya karyam na vidyate. For him, all work is ceases. So that's the but
Yeah,
the
so like, that's why, right? This is like somebody pointed out that this is an introductory thing where we cannot go into all details within an hour. Yes, so before when I showed the verse that is this one where common men follow the great people, this is the verse, a few verses before that, that Krishna is saying somebody is an Atma Rama. Only for those persons there is no prescribed duty. But then he again says that even though somebody is an Atma Rama, even myself, even though I come in millennium after millennium, why am I working? Because ordinary people follow the great people. Like they will follow the Lord Rama, they will follow the people who are Atma Ramas. And if they don't work, the people can misunderstand. Oh, that great person is not working. Maybe I should also not work. So that's why Krishna is saying that even though the people who are self-satisfied in their own, who are satisfied in their own self, they still work, and because these follow common men follow. Yes, but only for them there is no prescribed duty, but for everyone else there is duty.
And yeah, when you I just said about that Yadya Charati Shrestha, like people follow the I mean great personalities. Before like after saying this sloka, then again he says, okay, you are not yet there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why he says, Karmanyeva hi samsiddha astita janakadayaha. Loka sangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. Like Janaka did all he was a great knowledge, he was a great gnani, but he did all the works, and that's how he
Because he
actually.
is a Mahajan where people take follow him. Yeah, that's great points you're adding. Any other questions? Yeah, so sometimes we are discussing the philosophy, like if it is inspiring, that's great. But if it is going over, then don't worry, because we are just doing this course as a summary study. Means we are touching the important topics in here, but there might be some questions arising and we can answer those. But we just want to make this more for the beginners. And inspire them to take up Bhagavad Gita and keep reading. And sometimes as we keep reading, we get more questions, and we will see right away that Arjuna asks the same question and Krishna will be answering that also. Any other questions before we close today's session?
Actually, Prabhu, you mentioned that in the Kali, like also quoted the Bhagavatam, that it is only through Kirtana. But one thing, I mean, you said no one has time, but can that become an excuse for not like doing or not following other things up? Just doing Kirtana will it be sufficient, or I mean, if someone, can that be an excuse actually for just, I mean, just do Kirtana and not read any scriptures? Not gain the knowledge about the self, because the whole Bhagavad Gita is actually the knowledge of the Atma, right? Because at every sloka, that thing is stressed where I mean, yeah, end of every
So
sloka.
yeah, it should not be an excuse. But the thing is, even if the easy thing was given, if they are not doing, then we should start with the easy thing. And the easy thing will also give liberation. For example, we have seen so many people who are spreading nice things about meditation, like around the India and other places. What they themselves told is that they gave their past lives. That in this previous life they were this kind of rishi, and they have been doing this meditation from the last 7, 8 lifetimes. And this lifetime they were able to go on top of a mountain and was able to come face to face with the Lord, and they are giving how to do meditation. But if it is taking 8 lifetimes, if we are interested in spending that much time to get liberation, yes, and Krishna says in the later chapters, chapter 5, I think, he says that, oh Arjuna, there is no difference between Sankhya Yoga, there is no difference between devotional service. It is you have to decide. But what I will tell you is, if you are taking up the other paths other than devotional service, they are very troublesome. You will be falling down. They are not easy to follow. So for us, it's a choice that we have today. And Krishna, again, we discussed in chapter 1, he will not interfere with our free will. If we want to take up meditation, and if we are ready to spend 34 more lifetimes in meditation and then achieve liberation, yeah, Krishna will grant us and he will send us to a person who is going to give that. But if we are so much, and then there is a verse that comes that Bahunam Janmanamante Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava, means after spending Bahunam Janmanamante, many lifetimes, then a person will come to the understanding that I have been spending so much lifetimes on unnecessary endeavors. Why don't I just take the shelter of Vasudeva and get out of this world? So yeah, if we are interested in doing those meditation, Swadhyaya Yajna, means studying of the Vedic scriptures, we can do that. And for them, there is no this. Even if we say chanting is easy, they might not take it. But it's what I'm essentially saying is, the excuse should not be that we should not do the chanting, which is the easiest process. The excuse should be started there. If there is a process that is very much easy for us, and if our lifetime itself is not enough to do the other meditation, other processes of liberation, we should take to the easiest process. And Bhagavad Gita is making all information available. It's not like, if the Bhagavad Gita says that Krishna says this is the process of liberation, which is only do only do chanting, then we might whoever is not ready or whoever wants to do more work, they might not be getting that information. So that's why in previous class we said Bhagavad Gita is also called Gita Upanishad, means it gives all the information that is available in Vedas. It gives the process of meditation, it gives the process of Ashtanga Yoga, it gives everything. Ultimately, it is what we want to do. And Krishna ultimately recommends what he wants us to do, which will come in the last 18th chapter. We'll discuss this.
Yes, my Prabhu, because in the, I mean, after every chapter, why I'm saying is after every chapter is I mean, when you say scriptures, Bhagavad Gita itself is a big scripture, 700 slokas. It's very difficult to understand every sloka. It's a lifetime activity. Why I'm saying Bhagavad Gita is the knowledge of the Atma or the, why? Because after every chapter, it said, Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu, like I said, it's a Upanishad. Brahma Vidyayam, so it's about the knowledge of the Brahma, that is the Atma. Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, the dialogue between, it's a Yoga Shastra about the yoga, Shri Krishna Arjuna
Yes, Prabhu.
Samvade,
So
the dialogue
I
between
think
Krishna.
what we can do is, looks like you are very a little bit more advanced than the group. Maybe we can have you in a different group where we can deep dive, because we have many classes going on. If you are interested, we can also share more, because sometimes if we are discussing these advanced topics, people might feel a little bit more worried that how am I in the, so yes, is that okay? We discuss like
Sure.
yeah, we can share the details of advanced Bhagavad Gita classes that are going on, and we can deep dive these topics.
Yeah, sure. No, I like restricted. That's why, like, towards the end, you were coming close to the end. That's why I
Yes.
restricted my things to.
No, definitely. But thanks for all the great things that you're adding about the Bhagavatam slides and everything. It's just like sometimes the time is a factor we need to consider. Any other questions from anyone? Is this clear, like the flow, like from what Arjuna is asking Krishna and how Krishna is answering those?
Actually, Prabhu, you can summarize, Prabhu. That will be good.
Yeah, like I just did. So first, Arjuna is willing to not fight. He's confused about his duty. Krishna says, "Get up and fight," and he gives the knowledge about the soul. And Arjuna is again asking that if you are asking me, you're giving the knowledge about the soul and uh, use your intelligence. You're again, why are you asking me to fight? And then Krishna says, I'm asking you to follow my instructions, which is follow the yajna. If you do yajna, you will not get any karmic reactions. And then Krishna goes on to say in chapter 4, what is this all knowledge, where it is coming from? Any other questions? Okay, if no questions, we will say Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, 3 times, and we'll close today's session. All of us will say, can say together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. So, one quick announcement.
When you click my face,